All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What's up, everybody? We got us a Wednesday baseball show here at SHIPIT Nation. Got my man BJ here with me today as we're going to talk about our 8-game slate that we got here going on today. But BJ, how'd the week go? How's everything going? And what do you think real quick about the slate we got in front of us?
Good, man. I'm in full recovery mode. Had a little too much fun last night. I'm getting old now, so I turn 30 this month and or next month, and hangovers hit a little bit different now. Yeah,
I'm 52, man. I can't even remember turning 30. Shit, that was like a long time ago. But just stay young at heart, man. I always tell everybody here, play hard, work hard, have fun, do all that fun stuff. But you're right. When you get a little older, you start getting around that 30 age, that double day drinking shit, man, that can kick your ass, man. You got to learn how to drink water in between. That's the key. Suck down some water, get up in the middle of the night, take a couple aspirin, suck down some water. But yeah, I hear you. Them double, especially you in the sun too. Was it hot?
Yeah, it was hot. We're out here. It was high 90s. So it started early and finished up. I kept IPAs out of the fridge because they go down so easy when you start drinking and you don't really like it, the next day. But ran out of Ultras, so switched over to the Lagunitas late night. And next thing you know, it's 2 a.m. You're cooking a frozen pizza and you're thinking, what the heck happened? So it was a good time, though. It was a good time.
The old frozen pizza at 2 a.m., dude. I've fallen asleep a couple times on the old frozen pizza without the, the oven turning off and waking up to the dog barking at me like, bro, the kitchen's on fire, man. There's smoke coming out the thing. I've had it where they were charcoal. And then the one year, BJ, no shit, my wife was pissed at me. And my ex-wife, that's probably has something to do with it. But anyway, it happened that the 1 year was St. Patrick's Day. So I'd go day drinking in the morning, get all fucked up, come home at 6 in the afternoon, and I'd be shit-faced, right? Well, the next year she was yelling at me, don't you dare put in a pizza. Don't you dare. So I was like, no problem, I won't. So she left to go out with her friends after work. So my ass thought, well, I'm going to put a pizza in, and I'm just going to sit right here in front of the stove and put my head down right here, and I'm going to go to sleep. Burnt that pizza. The house smelled burnt. And, I got all the windows open in March trying to get all that smell out. It didn't go over very well. I got
that's funny you say that. Now that I think about it, I've done it quite a few times with the DoorDash. You order, and then you wake up in the morning time, you open your door, and you have, like a $50 meal, $60 meal just sitting overnight out front. So I've done that many a time. So
yeah, I haven't done that. Now I've woke up with a bunch of Taco Bell shit all over my lap. Like, what happened, man? I got Taco Bell, I got cheese and lettuce all over the front of me. Done that a few times. But let's give a shout out to some of our friends out here in the chat. Pojen Stoner Parabay in the house with us. Michael W. Appreciate you. Always been here. Juice. Always in the house here on a Wednesday, so appreciate that. But hey, before we get too far, man, hey, we got some football coming up here, BJ. I'm excited as can be. We've added some college football with D-Gen coming. Wait a minute. What the hell am I explaining all this for? I don't need to explain all this. We got our man here.
I just checked my calendar, and you know what? It's August, which means one thing. Football's back, and if you can't get excited for football in August, I got nothing for you, big guy. The big guy is excited. Guy in the back is excited. SHIPIT Nation is excited, and darn it, you better be excited too. So let's get started. Everything that SHIPIT Nation has to offer you in 2024. I hope you saw what an incredible year it was at SHIPIT Nation in 2023 for NFL season. And if you're thinking to yourself, I want all that again, well, don't worry. You're going to get it all and more. We have an entire team over here at SHIPIT of just the sweatiest tryhards you've ever met who are ready to offer you every single thing you need for every single slate, including the stack rankings, the DVP rankings, slate plans, player pools, every single thing. And oh yeah, if you don't know, all the stuff that I did at my site last year, DGen75, is now over at SHIPIT. I told you were going to get everything we offered and then more. So it's no surprise that at SHIPIT Nation, they had 3 Millionaire Maker winners last year, over 2 dozen six-figure winners, and a handful of game-changing hits from our community. But what is it that I'm bringing over from DGen75 that's so special? Well, first of all, this thing called the Stone. If you don't know, I invented this for college football to try to help everybody, and now it has just turned into the best tool in all of DFS. You want my ownership and my projections. You want to know who's a good cash play, who's a good GPP play. I put it all into one place called the Stone. I do this for PGA. I do this for college football. We do this for NFL. And here's the best part. You get all of this in one place in addition to everything that SHIPIT Nation is already offering. You're still getting your Tambo, your Hoop, your Marley, your Title, your Hamwich. All of those guys, the sweatiest tryhards, are now there, and you get this in addition to the tools. And here's the best part. None of it is an upsell. It's all the same price, if not cheaper than everybody else in the community, and you're getting double the tools. This is what we do at SHIPIT. We want you spending your money on your contests and not on your content. So if that NFL Stone caught your eye, let me tell you about the college football Stone. I know a lot of you are saying college football is not even legal in 20 states. Yeah, but that means it's still legal in 30. And I am telling you, college football DFS is the next sport that's coming up. If you're intimidated by it, you don't know anything about it, well, don't worry. I have a Stone right here that tells you what's a good cash play, what's a good GPP play, ownership, projections, everything you need, just like we offer for NFL. This was a big part of the merger when DGen came over, is I wanted to bring this over to SHIPIT Nation so people can see how fun college football DFS is. And you're thinking to yourself, man, I don't want to pay no $300 for no college football package. Well, don't worry. We don't separate our packages. We only have a football package. NFL and college football are one package, and here's the best part. Even if you just want to play NFL, our package is already cheaper than all of the competition, and you're basically just getting college football for free. So why in the hell would you not want it? It is an awesome tool. I have the sweatiest tryhard team behind me. College football DFS is a great little addition, and we don't upcharge it because, once again, put your money into your contests and not into your content. So what is this great price, and how does it compare to the competition? Well, let's just put up a chart, Bob. Here you go. You can see that we don't break it into a bunch of packages. We just have a football package, which includes both NFL and college football for $299. Here's the best part. You sign up before September 5th. We're going to give you free run of the entire website, MMA, PGA, MLB. You can be doing all of that stuff all the way up till September 5th just on us, because that's what we do to take care of our members. Not to mention, when you look at this, just start comparing the price. You are literally going to be saving hundreds, if not thousands of dollars during the season. That is things you could be putting into your DraftKings and FanDuel lineups and not wasting, giving it to your touts and paying for shit that you don't need. Pay for what you deserve and get quality. That is what we offer here at SHIPIT Nation. 2024 has been a magical year for SHIPIT Nation. The merger between SHIPIT Nation and DGen has gone better than we could have ever expected. Just look at the success across NASCAR and PGA, MMA, MLB. All of the sports out there have been incredible, and now we're going to carry it over to this football season with NFL and college football, and we are going to blow your hair back by giving you the best product at the best price out there. We're also going to teach you about sustainability, about how to play DFS sustainably till you can be there long enough to hit those wins, to get those big hits. We don't care if it's $50, $500, $5,000. We want you to play long enough until you can hit it, and we can do that by giving you great tools at an affordable price, and that is our mission here at SHIPIT Nation. Come be a part of the most incredible community out there. Come be a part of a place that teaches you how to win, and come be a part of a place that celebrates your wins and not fucking moderators' wins. It's been awesome. 2024, the year of SHIPIT Nation. Come join the nation. It's going to be special in 2024. I'm out, you motherfathers.
Man, that guy's something else, man. I don't know if you saw on Twitter, though, BJ. He put a message out there when he was a kid. He was like 12. He fell off his bike and cracked his skull and had like plates and everything put in. I'm like, dude, you've already used some of your lives up. Like, man, how many lives? This dude's using up his 9 lives. But he said tomorrow he's going to give a update on his current health. So hopefully everything is working out here for our man DGen. Really like that guy's energy, man. That guy is definitely something else. But yeah, I'll tell you what, BJ, when we got us a little 8-gamer here today, like I said, 5 of the 8 games are 7.5 or below. We got one sitting there at a 9. I think just kind of overview with the quick slate, just looking, we got one standout pitcher with Flaherty. I mean, he's above and beyond everybody else, especially with that matchup against the Seattle team who we like to attack. We got a bunch of other guys that you can go, you're not really sure. It's kind of like you're digging for reasons to play some of these guys. And you'd think we'd have some better pitching with the 5.7.5 totals that we got here on the board. But, just kind of looking up and down, I see some love going across the board for some lower end guys here. Maybe you could look at somebody like Spence today, maybe Nick Martinez down on the bottom, which we can get to. But, man, I think we got a couple offenses that stand out. We got one pitcher that stands out. So we're going to have to figure out how to get a little bit different here in this slate here today. But I don't know, starting at pitching, it's going to be hard for me to probably peel off Flaherty, especially against the Mariners. But, you look at some of these other guys. You got Gilbert, Nola, Cortez, Fried, Taillon, Pepio, and then you got Myers rounding out the 8K here on FanDuel. Other than Flaherty up at the top, who seems to be the clear man. What do you think, BJ? What do you think of this bunch?
I think you put it perfect. It's he just leads everything off, and then you get a bunch of these weird spots. So kind of middle of the range or middle of the road strikeout rates, some decent walk rates, not the best, but for me personally, all day I've just been kind of crossing guys off. I don't want to play anybody against the Dodgers. Nola's only striking out 18 whatever percent of batters since the All-Star break. I think he's like 22% on the year. Fried versus the Phillies. 9% walk rate. I don't like it. Not for these prices. So around that 8K range, obviously Flaherty won. If I had to take anybody, I think it's Taillon. Not a lot of wind coming in, but enough for it to matter. And I know the Tigers have been hitting the ball well, but I'm really just going to go Flaherty. And then if I want to get a little bit different, go Taillon. But you could poke holes in any of these guys, and I won't hate playing any of them just because you got almost 50%, I'm assuming, on Flaherty on DraftKings. I don't know what it'll be on FanDuel, probably way higher than that. But yeah, it's just a weird day for pitching because you see some of these names, and I feel like they're all just $500 too expensive, and the matchup's just a little too tough for me.
Yeah, you're just looking at some of these guys at the top. Obviously Flaherty stands out, and then you got Gilbert. It's like, he's got the Dodgers. So I'm not really a fan of that. And then Nola, like you mentioned, he just hasn't been himself, low strikeout rate. And then you got Cortez against a low strikeout Cleveland team, which I think could have some runs in that game. You're thinking, I'm not really interested there. Max Fried, he's had like 3 or 4 walks in his last, handful of starts. He's just not been himself, even though the pitch count's there, ground ball rate's there. It's something to be had. And then you got the Cubs here against Detroit. I kind of like the Tigers. They got Riley Green back, Carpenter back, brought up some of these kids. Kind of a different team than we've been seeing here in recent times. And then, Pepio gets a, nice park over there in Oakland. You're always worried about this guy's pitch count. But, Oakland does strike out, has some strikeouts there. He's 26%, I believe, Pepio against righties. And then you got, this Oakland lineup, about 25% against right-handed pitching as well, as far as strikeout rate. So I think that is something that, you obviously could look at. Just real quick, if I'm looking at the board, I'll probably putting on Flaherty and Martinez in my DK lineup, and I'm just going to build me some bats and figure it out. Because I think bats, other than the Yankees in Kansas City today, I think are going to be kind of popular. I think, the pitching today, I think Flaherty's going to be pretty chalky. I think you're going to see some love for Pepio. I think you're going to see some love for Martinez, Spence, and I think you may even see some Taillon and maybe some Fried as well. I don't think like Nola and Gilbert really going to get too much love, but I think Flaherty is going to be a guy that's going to be pretty high owned here today, but and rightfully so. But anybody else in there? Who would you cross off like first? Who are I'm not even consider playing in that 8K range. You got a few guys in there. You think you just
I think I'm not playing Nestor. Wind's blown out, and I like that game for bats as well. And I just think Nola. Well, okay, let's start like this. Gilbert for sure against the Dodgers. Nestor with the weather, and like you said, I like some of these mini stacks for the Guardians, Indians, whatever you want to call them. And then I'm throwing out Nola with the strikeout rate. So I don't mind any of these other guys. Like you said, Fried, he's 14 walks in his last 4 starts, 3-5, 3-3. So, I if he can get the walks down, maybe, but I don't like touching these pitchers versus the Phillies. So really those 4 I'd cross off there and leave you with Pepio and Taillon.
Yeah, I got to agree. It's just kind of hard to, like you said, no Gilbert, no on Nola. I'm not interested in that. Myers is interesting, as we see here from Jake. mentioning Myers, Brewers pitching's been lights out. You look at Myers' game log, his last game, he did struggle a little bit against the Dodgers, but man, before that, he had 32 points against Cincinnati. But I mean, I think that's our point. I think everybody after Flaherty, really, you can make an argument on either. You don't like him or you do like him. I think pitching is a little tougher today, but I do like. I think Pepio would be a guy that I'd probably take more of a chance on just because Oakland with that strikeout rate. If he gives up a couple runs, I feel like he can combat that with some strikeout opportunities that he has. So I think that would help. Spence here against Tampa. Tampa's been so bad, man, like so bad. That's really tempting too. But he hasn't been all that great himself either. His last couple starts against the Mets in Toronto, he didn't fare too well. But yeah, I think pitching's really interesting today. Like I said, man, 5 of these 8 games have totals of 7.5. Team totals are not high today. And you just look at this pitching. Like if you were to look at the pitching, you probably wouldn't think that would be the case across the board with the totals as low as they are. But yeah, I mean, really no weather issues as far as like rain or anything we got to be concerned about. A little bit of wind blowing in, maybe 10 miles an hour in Wrigley, but that's really not too much, all that to be concerned about. But yeah, I mean, it's getting a little chillier across the country. But yeah, so what do you think about these guys down low? Like I mentioned, some of these guys, I'm not really interested in like a Gibson, Lorenzen, no thanks. Rodriguez, that's tough one. Spence, I think it's interesting. Martinez is interesting. No Cueto for me. Can't go Maeda, even though he's been pretty good out of the bullpen lately. But man, I can't. I mean, Nick Martinez for me is pretty much where I think I'd go.
Yeah, I second that. I mean, 2.5% walk rate. I know he's been in the pen, all year. I think it's his 4th start out of the bullpen, but I'm really just scared of Vladdy in that lineup for Toronto. So he's like 6'3" on DraftKings, I believe it is. Yeah, 6'3". He's only projected, what I saw last, about 30 minutes ago, was like 10%, with a popular Flaherty and some popular bats that, I'm just going to play aside from changing up some of the minis. I believe that's how I'm going to get different. I get the Spence call. Not a huge strikeout rate, but I think it kind of, changes when you get the Rays and I don't hate it, but Martinez by far and away for me. And I want to talk about Maeda. I mean, 5K. I know we can't, but I mean, if you're making a handful of lineups, would you hate playing, having have a couple, shares of him mixed in?
Not at 5K. If I can get 15 points out of him at 5K, I'd probably be happy. And if, Flaherty goes up, but then it just goes to what am I going to use with that savings to take that risk? I don't know if the bats are really there today. I mean, you could go with some Dodgers and maybe some Spanks if you wanted to, but yeah, I don't know. I haven't really fooled around. I like to look at what I'm giving up when I, take a risk like that at pitcher. Like, do I really feel like the lineup is that much better if I move around like Martinez to Maeda? I think I'd rather find the extra money there and probably get up to Martinez. But I mean, I don't mind the thought, especially if you want to get different. I mean, shit. I mean, Crochet was pitching today. I was looking at it, and that fucker had 9 Ks and 55 pitches. And I'm seeing people recommend this guy. I'm like, dude, he had 55 pitches. What do you mean? I mean, I don't care if he had 9 Ks or not. Like, that's an anomaly. That shit is not happening too often. Like, that's just not going to be. But yeah, I think pitching today is. I mean, yesterday we had a big 13-game slate. I thought it was pretty spread out, which it ended up being. But man, I see our man Takedown here says, he thinks Flaherty's going to get his ass spanked tonight. I mean, hey, it is baseball. Definitely could happen. But I mean, Flaherty out there with the Dodgers, I think he got some new life. That Seattle team, I mean, they have added a few bats. Don't get me wrong, but man, there's just quite a few strikeouts. Flaherty can still give up 2-3 runs and still have 9 Ks, 8 Ks. He's still going to put up a pretty decent number. So I don't mind that at all. But just say hi to a few other guys in the chat. We got Power. We got Dirty Krusty, Jake Swalls. We got William Bernchi. I'm sorry I butchered your last name there. And then Jake as well. I saw you guys in here talking, Power. I saw you guys talking about, your fun back in the day here, on the raves and all that fun crap. I'll tell you what, you crazy fools. I used to do that crap in the 90s. That was always a lot of fun. But if you ever get a chance, I went to Electric Daisy Carnival, BJ, and that was out in Las Vegas. It was at the NASCAR track. It was like the year or two before COVID. And that just take a minute and Google that shit.
Is
out
that
there.
EDC?
Yep, EDC.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. That's
so I went out to that. The wife and I now went out there and we had some fun. And man, I was walking around with big blue wig and I had a lot of fun. I was way older than everybody else. I was walking around just having safety meetings, just sucking it all. I was there. It was my birthday. I'm like, what is that shit going on? I'm gonna go see what it's about. So I ended up getting VIP tickets on Reddit. It was pretty cool, man. I must say, like, I was shocked that stuff actually went on. Like, there was a lot of drug use going on, which, hey, that's all cool. I'm fine with it. But yeah, I was just floored. Like,
that's summertime too in Vegas. The heat, right? It's going to be like 100, 110 out there minimum, right?
It was from like 7 p.m. till 6 in the morning.
Got it.
And
okay,
nobody, it was like the bar scene, right? Nobody even got there till midnight, right? You know,
Yeah.
So I went there at 7 o'clock because I was 40 some years old, 45 or whatever, you know. So I was like the old guy. They probably thought I was a cop. It's probably more than like what it was. But man, I'll tell you, it's just fun. I've tried to do all that fun shit. Been to NASCAR races in the middle of the infield, having fun, doing all kinds. I just try to go have much fun as you can have. Just like I have fun playing DFS here. I mean, shit, we got all kinds of fun coming. I can't wait for football, BJ. I'm fired up. Get in there and been mixing it up in some of them drafters drafts as well. So been having fun with that. So speaking of, make sure you guys get over there, check that out too. If you haven't been in over there, you get a $100 deposit bonus for checking them out by using promo code SHIPIT. So get over there, check them out. If you don't got, if you got any friends that are looking to get into it too, I think it's a good way. Kind of just get your feet wet a little bit before your big draft. You know, you kind of get to mix it up a little bit. If you make some mistakes, who cares? You know, like you can make up for it in some of them best balls. But
yeah, I recommend that too. That's, you know, we got some big drafts. Like I do 1 or 2 big teams a year. And I know best ball is going to be different than a managed league, but there's nothing like getting into like, you know, having a night, drinking some beers, hanging out. Maybe you put, you know, The Office, whatever on, and you draft, you know, 10 $2 teams and you just try different stuff to see how it all kind of works out. You know, I know I'm going to do that with, you know, the 250 here on Drafters. You know, it's a quarter full. I think it was released a couple weeks ago, but you know, I'm getting some of those small ones, just kind of getting the feet wet, kind of seeing how it feels before late, you squeeze in a quote big one, if you will.
Yeah, they're I have a bunch of friends. I've been doing fantasy league for like 25, 30 years. I think we've been doing it. So we talk a lot of crap. So, you know, I kind of gotta, you don't want to be the asshole that rings out a dude that's hurt. You know what I mean? You know, like rattling off some dude it's like when the room gets quiet after you make a pick and you're just like, what happened? Dude, he's on contract. He hasn't signed yet. And you're just like, oh man, all right, whatever. You know, and then you start making excuses why. Well, dude, he'll be all right.
Yeah. It's funny. Before we move on to bats, we have a 12-man league this year, and we're going, hey man, what's the difference between $100, $500, whatever it is? So we're simply doing bottom 4 teams pays for everybody's 12-man golf trip. So top 4, you know, obviously you guys make it, you guys get to pick where we're going, all that stuff. So rather than money, we're doing a nice little golf trip. Don't have to pay for anything if you're top 4. Bottom 4 pay for everything. And we're still trying to figure out what to do with the middle of the pack, but we're very excited for that. And I can't wait. I think our draft's like in a week or 2 or something like that. Right before games.
I'll chip in and buy the cases of beer or high noons or whatever.
Yeah. Or and then add the trophy or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
So
they kind of get it new. It would still be a little cheaper for them than, you know, like the trip, you know, basically if that was the case, maybe, you know, or figure something out.
Yeah.
But we do our league where it's $5 a pickup for every transaction. It's $5, and then we take that money at the end of the year, and then we usually we get fillets, and you know, we have somebody come over and cook us up some steaks, and you know, we ham it up. We usually do a championship Sunday of the NFL championship, and we sit around, we get drunk, play cards, poker, and it's usually cold outside, so you know, a lot of fun. Man, I can't wait for football. It's just fun time of the year. That is for sure. A lot of shit talk. Some of my best friends are Bucky fans. I'm a Lions fan, Michigan fan. You know, I take it, I give it out. I mean, that's what it's all about, man. But at the end of the day, I would rather sit around with my friends and give them shit and get shit back than, you know, not. I mean, that's what's fun. Sometimes people get a little silly with it, but I almost got my ass kicked one time in Toledo for I was giving some Ohio State fan shit, but whatever. It's all about.
You survived. You're good.
Yeah, we're all good. Wife got on my because she thought I was going to get beat up. I was laughing. I'm like, this is all good either way. All right, real quick before we get on to bats, just give me top 3 pitchers. What do you think?
Flaherty, obviously number 1, and then if I'm going to take one more from the top range, I mean Tyon, and then Nick Martinez down at the bottom. Don't hate you if you want to get weird with a little 5K, but really I'm keeping my pool small today and kind of dictating what I do with bats.
Yeah, I'd go Flaherty, Pepio, and then I'd go Nick Martinez. It's probably the way that I'd go. The thought of that is interesting. He has been pitching a little better of recent times, but man, being a Tiger fan, that'd be like me betting on Javi Baez to get a hit. It's just like
you see, they hooked him up with the sign out there when he went back to Chicago.
Yeah, it says we miss you, but not your batting average.
Oh man!
Speaking of Chicago, man, we're going there this weekend for the DraftKings baseball final. Is this Saturday, so I'll be there. I know Tambo is going to be there. We got Rio is going to be out there, so we're going to have all kinds of fun. I know Scarface will be out there, so we're going to have some fun. They're going to have to party with me and hang out. So they're going to be in for one, that's for sure. But man, I'm looking at a lot of fun at that. I always love going to them live finals, hanging out with all the guys. It's just a good time, a lot of fun, a lot of parties. It's like going on a vacation with like 40 of your best friends, 40 of your friends. I wouldn't say best friends, but 40 of your friends. But always a good time. But let's dive it into some bats here. Man, like I said, I haven't, other than the Yankees and Royals here today, I think them are the standouts, just kind of looking at what we got. But I'll just say, I just kind of looking around, like I'm trying to figure out, all right, do we really want to go that route? Is that the route I'm sitting here thinking? I'm like, I don't know. But then I keep thinking, man, 5 games that totals was 7.5. So the ones that don't have 7.5 totals, Yankees and Indians sitting at 8.5, Cincinnati, Toronto at 8. And then we got Angels at KC sitting at a 9. So obviously Yankees, KC, top of the stacks for team totals. Man, Yankees against Cleveland. That Cleveland bullpen is stellar. I'll just get that out there right now. That Cleveland bullpen is something I wouldn't really want to fool with. But, man, I think there's enough reason for me to even fade the Yankees today. I think I feel more comfortable fading the Yankees than I would the Royals just because of the bullpen there. I know, you got Quintana coming out, he's lefty, ground ball pitcher to the right side. But I don't know. I mean, it's still the Yankees. Aaron Judge. I don't like the bottom half of this Yankee lineup. I just not impressed with it. But obviously, the top half, obviously has a lot of power. But I think Yankees are going to be the chalkiest team today. But I don't know. Part of me, I just don't like them, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, I like top 4. I mean, it's Stanton batting cleanup. But you think they're going to be more popular than the Royals, huh? I thought it was the other way around. So I obviously a lot of time till locks. So that's why I was okay playing the Yankees over the Royals just because of that with what is Johnny Cueto now? 38 years old, whatever it is. So anyways, that's interesting to me. So I'm going to keep an eye on that because I certainly agree with everything that you said. Those guys, those 2 teams will be popular. And for me, there's just a whole bunch of mini stacks I really like. When we go in game by game, there's going to highlight some guys, but this might be kind of a different day for bats for me. Not so many, 4 or 5 man stacks, maybe a couple of minis mixed with a one off here, one off there, but haven't really finished building yet.
Yeah, I have to give a little shout out to our boy Kenny. I was wondering that too, man. I usually get a message. It's like my reminder. The show's going to start in like 15 minutes. And that didn't happen. So, Kenny, we apologize. I don't know who was sleeping behind the wheel, but we'll give him a break because that's the first time that's happened all year. So we'll give him a break. Maybe we'll give him a little shit if he does it again. But, yeah, apologize for that. But, yeah, literally, that's like my warning, like 10 minutes. I'm like, oh, shit, I got to get going here. And then, too, like it tells me who I'm with sometimes. Like it changes sometimes. Like, BJ was Tuesday or Wednesday with title. And I'm like, well, shit, who's with me today? But, yeah, so I did miss that too. So apologize for that. But, I just kind of looking at these, like we were talking here with the bats with the Yankees and Kansas City. I think the Yankees are just easier to click. Kansas City for me, yes, they did, hit some homers yesterday, but man, just overall power as a team, it's just hard sometimes for me to click them there. They have been hitting a little bit more homers here recently, but I'd like to see a little more power in that lineup. I think the Yankees and KC are going to definitely be the chalk. Johnny Cueto coming back. I mean, I pretty much a ground ball pitcher, lower mid, 18, 19% K rate, really nothing all that great. I think the lefties for me are what would stand out against Cueto, Vinny. I think would be somebody, Massey, Melendez. I think that would be somebody that I'd look at. I think, I think too, if you kind of getting into bullpens, I don't know. I really don't generally want to pick on Kansas City, but I just think this one here, they match up. It's like you just pitch around Soto and Judge anymore. And I don't know. I think this Yankee lineup can be had with some good matchups. So I think that's kind of what worries me about the games here, but we can just bounce through them here real quick. The first game we do have is this Cleveland Yankee game, obviously sitting 8.5. We got Nestor Cortez against the other lefty, Cantillo, here for the Indians. But any bats here you like? Even do you want to go against Nestor Cortez, who obviously can struggle at times? Obviously, he's a little bit more of a fly ball pitcher, gives up 39% fly ball rate to lefties, which is interesting for a guy like Jose Ramirez and Josh Naylor. So I think that could be a little interesting as far as a lefty one-off. That probably would be very low owned. But I mean, this game here, one of the three that don't have a 7.5 total, there's got to be some bats in here we like other than some Yankees.
Yeah, no, I love it. I totally agree. Wardo's in chat saying Nestor has to go deep. Totally agree. They played 12 innings last night. That's kind of why the Yankees aren't so bad to me. They had to use that great bullpen last night too. So for me, I think this is obvious game stack. I love the lefty call with Josh Naylor. I like the Quan call leading off. If he'll be in the lineup, but this is definitely a mini stack for me mixed into all my lineups. I mean, Noel, he's cheap. I think he's 3,500. Jose Ramirez, he's, going to be expensive, but he's the last 30 days, he's just smashing the ball. I mean, 517 ISO versus lefty. He's almost a 500 WOBA. So I'm mixing and matching. I love the lefty call. I want to get some bats in here. Wind's blowing out 10 miles an hour, I believe it is, maybe 5. Doesn't matter. Right center, short porch. I really like that call, and these are going to be some of my bats I want to trickle in. Hopefully, we get some of these Indians low owned.
Yeah, I think this one. I mean, a lot of times I like the game stack. Sometimes, especially if I got like 3 lineups, usually one of the 3 I'll pick a game and I'll stack up a game. A lot of times, I think this one has that potential. Obviously, the other one I think is that Royal Angel game has some potential for a game stack. But I think this one here, I mean, obviously the Yankees are going to be one of the higher owned stacks, but I don't mind some of these Indians here. Noel, for sure, as you mentioned, he's a cheap play on both sites that you could look at. Hedges is in there too. Fry, as you mentioned, Wardo mentioned in there.
Fry's batting 5. I think he's 3,500. Let me just verify that real quick. 3,800. He'll be popular too, just at that price, but I love it.
So, the Indians there aren't in a bad spot. I don't mind it at all. Cortez, I mean, he's like, I don't want to call him Robbie Ray, but almost kind of like Robbie Ray. He's either on or he's just giving up homer. I can't even do it. And Matt, if you're new here, I always call them the Indians. That's just the way it's going to be. Indians and Redskins. It's just the way it's going to be. I don't give 2 rats shit what anybody else wants to call them. In my world, they're the Indians. That's just the way it's going to be. You can't be making the Major League movie with the Indians and all that shit, and then all of a sudden decide just to change it up because some woke-ass fools decided to get on your ass. So just give it up. You're the Indians. And I drive by that stadium, too, for work sometimes, and I yell always out the window, "Hey, Indians, woo!" I give them shit, whatever. I do flip off the Ohio sign, too. It's just the way it works. I mean, we're from Michigan. That's what we do. But hey, it's all good. It's fun. We have fun with it. But BJ, that's what you do when you live in Michigan. You make fun of people from Ohio. They make fun of us. Yeah. I mean, that's just what we do.
See,
But
for us in San Diego, that was us and Dodger fans and us and Raider fans. Problem is, though, is you put your life at risk when you start talking trash to some of those guys. So we learned late, you shut your mouth. So
if you got balls enough to be fooling that Raider Nation, like in the end zone, those dudes all the spikes on their shit, and you want to talk crap to them, you best have had about a dozen high noons. Like where
more
you're
than
feeling
that, you
pretty
need
good about
whiskey at
yourself.
that point. You need some whiskey.
I like drinking that Screwball, man. Screwball for me, it gets me in trouble. That peanut butter whiskey, that
You
gets me in
got
some
to
trouble.
you got to find dough ball, so it's cookie dough whiskey.
Oh,
Now that
Ball?
dough ball,
I'll
yeah,
have to
that's
try
one to
that one.
write down. Yeah.
Last year at bowling, BJ, I bowl quite a bit. On Wednesdays, I actually bowl, and my boss came up there 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We did 7 shots of Screwball before my 5th frame of the first game. And
Probably bowled great.
dude, I shot like a 232 my last game, beat all my teammates. They were mad at me that we were going to lose because I was going to be shit-faced, wouldn't be able to stand. I was like, whatever. I will be all right. If I can stand, I can bowl and ball. I could do that shit. It don't matter.
Yeah.
But see, I got a lot of people in here agreeing with me. Indians for life. Same thing at the Indians. Hey, it's all right. If they want to call them the Guardians, call them the damn Guardians. I don't give a shit what you call them. We all know what they are. They're the Indians. I mean, we need the dude back to beat the drum and shit. Boom, boom. I heard he passed away, unfortunately. But, we need that dude back. They'd probably be pissed if somebody did that nowadays. But either way, who cares? So moving on, we got 7 more games. We got another one here that's not in the 7.5. We got Cincinnati and Toronto sitting at 8. We're sitting here looking at our boy Nick Martinez, who Blue Jays smashed yesterday, and then we got Yariel Rodriguez here. Blue Jays, here I made fun of him yesterday, BJ, saying, man, I wish the Blue Jays hit more home runs overall as a team. And then Kirk hits a homer. Massey, I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, they were the winner. They were the winner.
They were too. I mean, absolutely. So, but here we go today. We got some Nick Martinez who we both said we liked. I think if you really do want to look at some of these Toronto bats here, I mean, Springer obviously had a good day yesterday. You're looking at Martinez. He's got ground ball percentage 40% to lefties, 37%, 36.5% to righties. Fly ball percentage a little higher to lefties. So, I mean, if you want to look at somebody like a Varsho, if you wanted to go there, obviously Springer's hot. I think you could get a little bit of leverage, especially more so on DK, if you wanted to look at a Blue Jay for a one-off. So I think that is kind of interesting. But, man, the other side of this, I don't know if you like any of these Cincinnati bats, but Rodriguez, ground ball pitcher, more so the left side, 47%, fly ball to the right side, about 32%. You got India, Steer, Ty France, Stevenson, of course, Ellie. I prefer Ellie when he's batting lefty. But, man, these Reds, decent spot. Can they get a bounce back here and maybe put one on Toronto like they had one yesterday put on them?
Yeah, no, I think it's really interesting. Like I said, I like minis here. I like the idea of playing Ellie at short instead of the popular Bobby Witt. That I'm just going to kind of fall into that. So if I'm making 1 to 3 lineups, I want to get a few pieces here. I mean, just the last 30 days, they're not really striking out that much. They're walking at a high rate. They steal a lot of bags. Do have power in this lineup. So I don't mind a little Ellie, India, Stevenson, throwing in, mix out a Stevenson and throw in a Steer. But I'll definitely have some exposures and mixing and matching 1 through 6 in mini stacks, which do include Ellie.
Yeah, I think this game's interesting. Like I said, it's one of the ones without the 7.5 mark that we're looking at here. But I see we got a little question here in the chat about bullpens. What bullpens are the top 5? I mean, if you just look at team ERA, you got Cleveland, Milwaukee, Atlanta, and the Dodgers are down there. Oakland, Cincinnati down there as well. Cubs bullpen, they're all under 3, around 3.5. The worst bullpens, Colorado, White Sox, Toronto, Texas, Boston are up there. Kansas City's bullpen's been a little bit better of recent times, but they're also up there as well. So I kind of like to look at the bullpens too. Like when you really are diving into it, sometimes you can look at, is this team better against lefties, righties? Sometimes I like to kind of pay attention to that a little bit more. So just like you mentioned earlier, Yankees win a long game yesterday. They're going to need some innings out of Cortez. So, if he gets beat up a little bit, they're going to leave him out there. They're going to let him. They're going to hang him out there for 4 or 5 innings. They need 80 pitches out of him today. So something also that you can think about. But definitely interesting one. This Reds and Cincinnati game. Moving on here, Philadelphia, Atlanta. First battle of two teams here. You think that could have taken the NL crown here. You got Aaron Nola going against Max Fried here. Fried, obviously more of a ground ball pitcher, 55% to lefties, 59% to righties. Very low fly ball percentage, 17% to lefties, 16% to righties. I mean, obviously, if you're going to want to look at somebody here, you definitely want somebody who hits the ball in the air. As I mentioned, I usually like numbers over 30%. So, looking at Harper, 35%, Castellanos, 33%, even Weston Wilson's got a 41. So, I'd be looking at guys against ground ball pitchers that definitely can hit the ball in the air. But, man, Max Fried's just one of them guys, been walking too many guys, just kind of leads to some big innings, to some rallies, which is definitely concerning. But, I mean, Fried could definitely shut this one down. We could definitely see a low-scoring game here in this one. But, I mean, Nola, obviously not the strikeout pitcher that we want him to be, around 18%. I mean, I don't mind picking on this Braves team now, especially as beat up as they are. But I just don't think Nola's the guy to do it with.
Yeah, it's really interesting now that this lineup is out. I mean, it's an affordable stack. I mean, Merrifield, 3,300. You got Murph at 38. It feels ugly, but the downside to some of these big time bats that are expensive for the Braves, they strike out a little too much, specifically over the last 30 days. And if you got Nola that's not striking out, I don't mind kind of getting a little different here. I know it's 7.5 total. I know it's weird to see these two teams at such a low total when we don't really like the pitchers necessarily. So this is definitely an interesting spot. Might be sneaky, but definitely affordable.
I'll call it sneaky. I mean, I don't mind. Whit Merrifield, he had a triple and a double yesterday. I think I was watching part of that, and I was like, Whit Merrifield is beating up on Wheeler. Like, what is happening here? Like, I was just like, I guess best baseball. But, I mean, I can see what you're saying. I think I'd prefer the Atlanta side over the Philly side, just because I think I'd rather pick on Nola just because of the heavier ground ball lean that Fried has to both sides. Nola has a ground ball lean to right side, but guys like Harris, Olsen, Kalenic, I think are all interesting here against Nola that I'd be looking at. So definitely an interesting one. I mean, we only got 8 games, and as we mentioned, 5 of them have totals of 7.5. So we're going to have to pick some offenses here that in normal conditions, like in a 13-game slate like yesterday, we're not picking on teams in a 7.5, but we're probably going to have to like some teams here that are in the 7.5 range. So this Atlanta team, it would be one for me.
Yeah, and and when we have a slate like this, you don't need them to go off. You get the right double mixed in, and then your guy hits a bomb with him while he's on base. I mean, you can get away from kind of squeaking out some winners. It was like Monday night. Slate was ugly, and I'm pretty sure the winner was like 6 runs from the Mets or the Reds, whatever it was, and only a couple of home runs, and it's a winner. You start looking at teams that are winning tickets and finishing well in GPPs with a couple of 5s and a 3 in their lineup. And I think this is kind of that slate.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, this one probably has potential to be a lower scoring slate. So I think that's kind of why too. I think Flaherty is the only guy you really need to, like we were talking about, it really could be concerned about who could just nuke a slate here today. I mean, if somebody hits 2 or 3 homers, right, but I mean, how often does that happen? But I really think like a guy like Flaherty, he could be the must guy you have. So if we fade him, I'm not really too concerned about pitching after that. So I mean, if you think Flaherty is going to get hit or get beat up a little bit, or if he does, can save you on that on that salary. But I really think that's just the way the slate is here today. I think it's going to be a lower scoring slate all the way across the board. I have some friends that I play a lot of DFS with that'll say on these slates, they don't even really like the stack. They kind of like to mix it up, play some hot hitters, do stuff like that, especially on not of a large of a slate. So, I mean, everybody has their own little strategies, what I think is pretty cool here about DFS baseball. But moving on here, this other one, we got a game at 7.5, Milwaukee and St. Louis. I did like Milwaukee yesterday. We talked about them a little bit. Obviously, I always talk about Milwaukee and Cincinnati, the 2 teams that steal the most bags by far in all of MLB. So here we got Milwaukee here, Tobias Harris, and then on the other end, we got Kyle Gibson. Gibson, obviously, a little bit more of a ground ball pitcher here to right side, 52%, at 40% to lefties. A little bit more of a fly ball to lefties, so obviously going to want to pick on him with some lefties. You got the speedy guy, Turang, up at top. Garrett Mitchell in the 3-hole, even Tyler Black, Sal Frelick, some guys you could look at. Don't mind some lefties there for the Brewers. As far as, this St. Louis team goes, yesterday I wanted to like him a little bit more than I did. Tobias Harris here, ground ball, 43% to lefties, 36% to righties, fly ball, 21% to lefties, 27% to righty. Just kind of looking at some righties here. Maybe Wilson Contreras. Arenando's been hitting a little better. Goldschmidt way down there in the lineup. So, you look at the St. Louis lineup, you think, how the hell isn't it better than it is? But, from 1 to 9 potential, this lineup isn't too bad. Anything you like in this game here?
No, I think you said it great. This is going to be a spot for me if I'm taking a couple Milwaukee bats. My favorite by far, Contreras and Adames. I want to pick on Kyle Gibson. I don't want a full stack, but some of these guys are hitting the ball well. And like you said, they steal bags. So I agree with you on that. And then you got me hyped up when you said Tobias Harris, NBA season, around the corner. Tobias Myers. Yeah, but I love it. I love it. That's,
I saw Tobias and my brain went Harris. I was now you say there's probably not too many other Tobias guys. And if there is, I can't even think of them. But
no, I've done
my
that
brain
many
went.
times. Yeah,
it's that safety meeting brain.
Cardinals don't excite me that much. I get everything you said. I get Arenado, Goldie, Matt Carpenter back in the lineup. If this is a finalized lineup, yes, it is. Batting in the 8-hole. I wonder what his price is. Came back kind of getting on base a little bit. Majority a stay away, but I do like a few of those bats. Like I said, I don't mind mixing it up, getting a little different.
I will say, with these Reds and Brewers on a slate like today, these stolen bases could really come into play today. If they rip off 3-4 stolen bases, either team. So for me, that does bump up a team when I kind of have them all in the same range. I'm thinking, well, I got the bump up here, potentially getting some bags. And speaking of some stolen bags, man, Altuve been stealing some bags lately, like double stealing some bags, second and third couple games here recent times. So something to think about.
A couple of slates ago, I faded CJ. CJ walks and steal to start the game, and it's 12 points on DK. And you remind yourself every time you see that, like, that's a home run. You know what I mean? Like it's
poor man's home run.
Yeah,
definitely.
I think he stole 3 bags that day. Actually, I don't know.
Yeah, poor man's home run. I love it.
Yeah.
That's something to be concerned about, or think about too. Like when I got these stacks, I'm thinking, do I like this? Do I like Milwaukee or I like St. Louis better? And I'm thinking, well, I like Milwaukee because they can steal some bags for me. Mm-hmm. That is for sure. So yeah, I think that one, this game here, interesting division game too. Don't mind those. Like football, I hate stacking division games in football, but baseball is opposite for me. I'd rather play division games in baseball just because I feel like they have more of a scouting report for the hitters on these pitching and especially deep through the bullpen. But it's backward switch for me. Football, I'm not generally a fan stacking up division games. Generally, those ones don't seem to go off as much. But other way around in baseball.
That's a trend I did last year, and the year before that was profitable. Second time division games, bet the unders in the NFL. That was a lot of fun. So
yeah, there's a lot of cool trends. Another trend that I saw too: 19 out of the last 21 years, the last place team has come in first place the next year. So I always look at them 8 teams, try to figure it out. They all got good odds, man. Like you can pretty much pull one out and kind of narrow it down. And you bet 1 or 2 of them, you can get you some good odds. Like. So the other day, BJ, I bet on the Lions. I'm a Lions fan, obviously homer, 12-1 to win the Super Bowl. And I thought, screw that. Let's pull out the matchups. What was them against the Texans? It was 110-1 for them to beat the Texans. So dude, it was 55-1 for them to beat the Chiefs. So why not just play the Chiefs, the Texans? You bet a few of those. And if they beat one of them better teams,
odds are way better,
right.
And then you can hedge out in some of those. You get these teams meeting in the AFC Championship game. You could hedge out of those. I really like that. That's a great point.
Yeah, I was just thinking, to me, there isn't too many teams on either side. So just pick your team. I think it's a long shot. Maybe stack it up against one of the favorites on the other side. You get way better odds. And you could do it 2 or 3 times. You hit one of them, obviously it's going to cover yourself. You're going to be way up. So I don't think you really need to be too concerned, but we best get back on some baseball. We're getting excited about football, but we got the Tigers and the Cubs. over there in Wrigley Field. Javi Baez coming back home over there to Wrigley, having some fun. They could leave his ass there as far as I'm concerned as a Tiger fan. Looks like we're going to have Bo Brisky coming out. Then we're going to end up with Maeda coming back. But we got Tyon here against the Tigers. Tyon, a little bit ground ball percentage, 45% this season here to lefties, 35% to righties, fly ball percent, 34% up to righties, 29% to lefties. You know, I mean, some of these lefties here for the Tigers, as I mentioned, this is a totally different team than we saw earlier this year. You got Parker Meadows up at top. Riley Green came back. Verling's one of the best fastball hitters in all of baseball. Carpenter comes back. Torkelson they bring back. And then they have these two kids, Jung and Sweeney. So, I mean, we got all kinds of lefties here. And that's why I wasn't as high on Tyon before. I do like his upside there a little bit. I just don't know if I like fooling with the Tigers here. But I think there's some potential. I think the Tigers might be a team that you could use a mini stack that I don't mind here today.
Yeah, I really like that. And I think it obviously will be a little bit low owned just because you're going to get some ownership on Tyon just because there's really not many other options as an SP2. And then you throw in, people get scared of that wind. So even if it's coming in, it doesn't really matter how fast it is. People just shy away from that. So I really like that call from you. And I think it's definitely worthy of throwing some lineups.
I mean, Parker Meadows, the top of that lineup, steals bags. He's going to steal a bag every chance he gets. Carpenter, I mean, obviously has some power, 41% fly ball percentage. So definitely an interesting one there. So, I mean, I don't mind him more as a mini. I mean, you're going to get all these guys really cheap too. So, if you wanted to go high up on some pitching, I think the Tigers might be an interesting way to go to kind of get low owned. I mean, I'd put the Tigers in the same gap here as, even the Indians and the Reds and maybe the Brewers and Angels coming up. I kind of got them all in like a little bunch here. So I think they'd be in there. I mean, close to my top 5 range here today. So I don't mind that at all. So, yeah. Anything else on the other side here? Any of these cubbies that you might want to look at here?
I mean, over the last 30 days, it looks like the top of the order has been hitting the ball pretty well. I haven't been playing them. Same thing kind of goes. I mean, I can see how you play a 5K Maeda, but at the same tune, we like to stack against him. I don't mind a mini or even like a weird little full stack in a big, entry GPP. Just because I think it's going to be low owned, I hope, but it is Maeda and wind is coming in. So I'm kind of in a weird spot here, but Suzuki, Bellinger, Bush, I mean, I'm down to run a couple of minis with those guys. And I, like I said, I think the field gets a little nervous with some wind. So yeah, that's where I stand on there. I'm liking it a little bit more as I'm talking about it. You can mix it up, get a couple of guys on the bottom of that order and, worth a shot. Maybe you play, 10 lineups and you have one Maeda and one Cub stack, kind of hedge it out a little bit and kind of see if you can, bink something near the top. So
yeah, Hap's been hitting pretty well. He's 11 for 38 his last 15 days. He's like in the top 7 of OPS of all of MLB the last couple of weeks. So he's been hitting the ball pretty well. So, I mean, if you wanted to stack up a lineup with some hot hitters, obviously he moved up to the top. But, man, let's not forget, too, like, who was it yesterday? Oh, Lariano, I think, for Atlanta, got bumped up to that 2-hole. Every time I see that, I'm like, man, I should bet on that dude to hit a home run. Like, I mean, it's almost like automatic. It almost seems like it's just a little thing I've noticed over the years. Dude hits 6, 7 most of the time. All of a sudden, they bump him up to 2. It's like, dude, he always goes off. I don't know why, but it's just something I've found over the years, man. Just something on experience.
Yeah. What is this? Okay, I was nervous. You made me think my teeth are yellow here. What is it? I'm a Sensodyne guy, dude. I got sensitive gums, so I had braces for a little bit too long. So I'm an expensive. I think Sensodyne, I buy a 2-pack at the store for like $15. I know it's California, but damn. So
hey, on this show we give all kinds of advice around here, BJ. We talked about pooping in a box, sending it in for your colonoscopy. We've talked about all kinds of stuff here on the baseball. Hey, it's all open conversation here. That's what we like to do. Talk a little baseball, mix in some fun stuff. I get yelled at if I bring up politics shit. I get in trouble. No, don't do that, Gyiraszin. Don't be talking no politic crap. So I got to I leave that go. But sometimes it slips. I can't help it. Sometimes it slips. But, I mean, it's just the way it goes. But this one here, next game, We got Angels, Kansas City. We're sitting at a total of 9, the highest game total on the slate. We got the Angels here and Kansas City. We got Lorenzen going here. I don't know who the hell is pitching for the Angels here.
Cueto,
yeah. All right, that's even worse.
Yeah.
So we got Cueto going here. You know, I think this one's here interesting for a game stack. As I mentioned, a lot of times I like to stack up games. If I had to pick one, I think this one, the Yankee game, might be it. But I think this was the one that I do prefer. I actually like the Angels side. I got the Angels a little higher up than probably most people would feel comfortable with. The Angels are not comfortable to click them names. I can tell you that right now. But I don't mind a full 5-3 with the Royals and then go 3 with the Angels here. If you wanted to do that, see what's left with you for some pitching. I'm assuming you probably get some pretty good choices for yourself. But I don't mind this one here as a full game stack. I think the Royals are going to be up there. Obviously, we mentioned with the Yankees. But Michael Lorenzen, nothing special here. I mean, I am not worried about this guy. 14% K rate to the right side here. I mean, it's just not good.
Left-hand side, he's walking 13.5%. Goodness
right.
gracious,
He's not missing bats. He's not hitting the home plate. I mean, definitely an opportunity here for the Angels to put up some runs. I mean, could we see a softball game here? And do we want part of these Angels? I think we do.
I like that. You know, I love the mini. I don't even mind kind of just mixing in a fourth or a fifth back, like you said. Ward, Neto. I mean, I don't want to play Rendon, but Hoppy. I mean, I'm down to run, 3 or 4 man here just because, like you said, he's not missing bats. He's given up a 46% hard hit rate. I really like that, and I believe that they'll be substantially lower owned versus the Royals.
Neto probably is a great play at shortstop just because of what we've had at shortstop. Obviously, we got Witt. I mean, we've had Seager the last few days. But, shortstop's been such a position. Neto hit a homer yesterday. So definitely a guy there I think you get low owned that I do like at that shortstop spot, hitting up there in that 2 spot. So I think Neto is somebody that I could get on board with. But I like both sides of this game, as we mentioned. So I think this one here, obviously, total of 9. I mean, it's a full run and a half higher than 5 of the 8 games we got here today. So obviously there's some offensive opportunities. But I think you get these Angels way lower owned than they should be, and I think that's why I like them a little bit more.
Yeah, and then on the Neto call, I mean, he's 4K on DraftKings. Bobby's 66, so he doesn't even need to meet what it is. If he gets 8 and Bobby gets 12, I mean, the 4 points to save the 2,600. Ellie's 62, so that saves you a couple thousand there. So I really like that call, and we'll definitely be kind of mixing that in to kind of diversify versus the field.
Like our boy Mike Peterson here says, Lorenzen equals gas can, or his title would say, we call him Cheeks. I snuck in at Cheeks yesterday, and title didn't even say nothing. He didn't say. I tried to see if he'd get a reaction out of him. He didn't say no. I just kept going. He never said, "Whoa, you said Cheeks." I stole his phrase, but I thought that one. I tried to get him, and he didn't respond. BJ, I
think I said that to my girl the other day. Not the other day, a couple of weeks ago. She goes, "What are you saying?" And it's like, oh no, see, back in the day, that was cool. You're talking online, play a little Call of Duty, whatever it is. You were the guy talking like that. So that's funny.
Get ripped on by my non-DFS friends when I start talking like DFS language. Like this guy's chalk, or don't do this, or I'll bring up something or talk about something, and they'll try to mimic me. I'll laugh. I'm like, you guys don't even know what you sound. You don't even sound right. Like don't even try. Like don't even bother. But we got to move on here. We got 2 more games left here. Tampa Bay, Oakland sitting at 7.5. We got Pepio here against Mitch Spence. I kind of like both pitchers. I think that it's very tough to click this Tampa lineup if you do want to go against Mitch Spence here, ground ball pitcher. But this Oakland side against Pepio, obviously K percentage, about 27% to lefties, 25 to righties. I do like his K percentage. They do strike out quite a bit, the A's. But they've showed quite a bit of power the second half here. So I don't know if, you're interested in any of these A's here. I think it's a pretty interesting spot. It's just not anything I really want to go with today, but I couldn't argue with you if you wanted to.
Yeah, I would agree. This is why, Pepio's not super high on my list. It just feels like one of those games where I think the Rays, might sneak in a couple of runs. We see a 3-2 game here. Nobody's scoring a lot of points from the pitching side. It's really tough to narrow down some of these bats. I don't mind a one-off. I don't mind a little two-man, but I think that's going to be maxed out for me. If I am picking some of these A's, Brent Rooker, obviously price involved, maybe not so much, but Blade, Langoliers, those are going to be some of my favorite bats, batting 3 through 5 there. And as far as the Rays side goes, I mean, the two guys that even would, stomach playing will be both the lows, and they're both expensive. So they're just completely off my list. And like you said, I can't stomach it.
Yeah, it's just the park's bad too. We don't like the park. 7.5 total. It's like, kind of just a little bit much. I think too much of a reach, but don't mind. I mean, hey, if you want to go there, go for an 8-game slate. I mean, we don't have too many options, as we said, are just elite hitting spots. We got 5 games, a total of 7.5. So still interesting one there for sure. It's almost like we got a bunch of playoff baseball games, but either way. Last game, we got Seattle and the Dodgers here. Logan Gilbert against Jack Flaherty. Man, you could get a hell of a leverage if you wanted to pull a one-off here from Jack against Jack Flaherty. Flaherty ground ball percentages, 41%, 42%, righty and lefty. More of a fly ball pitcher to the left side, 27% to 22% to the right. If you wanted to look at something like that, if you want to even look at like last 30 days for Flaherty, his K percentage is always up in the 30% range. He's been giving up a little bit more fly balls to the right side recently, 28%, 32% ground balls. So, if you wanted to look at somebody like that, Rayleigh, 35% fly ball, Polanco, 33.3. A couple guys I might look at, Kyle Rayleigh. Obviously, you can play him about any time with all that power he's got. But, if you want to go against Flaherty, I think if you don't like him, I don't mind putting in one of these guys here as a one-off. I think, that could be an interesting play. Probably make you different, be low owned. And then this Dodgers side, obviously with Logan Gilbert here, fly ball percentage way higher to lefties, 10% higher, 28.9 to lefties to 18.9 to righties. Obviously, we got Shohei's a lefty, Freeman, Luck's been hitting the ball, Muncy got back. So, man, not a good time to be seeing the Dodgers, especially with the lefties. But I do like some of these lefties for the Dodgers. I think you'll get them a little bit lower owned just because it is Gilbert. But, I don't mind some of them. I think maybe more of a mini because they are going to be some expensive bats. But I don't mind them. But not the greatest spot. But, hey, we only got 8 games.
Yeah. And, Dodgers fall in that category. I couldn't argue ever with anybody if you say you're going to stack them every day. It makes sense. They have so much power. They have so much upside. Slates like this where you have similar spots that they're just overlooking the Dodgers. They could be pretty low owned. I know Rio, I think he shipped his ticket, the first ticket of the year with the Dodgers 5-man, maybe a 4-man. I don't know, but they just have the upside. So I would agree with that. Minis tonight for me, I'm going to focus elsewhere, but I can't hate on it. That's where it's at. I was looking, we're 3 games back. I was trying to get at least a tie before the end of August. Then I saw a series with these guys. I'm thinking, man, well, there's 3 games out the door. So, it'll definitely be a really good spot for a lot of these guys if you have the money for it.
So I will say something. I do like the Tigers better than the Dodgers. I'll tell you that. Okay. I like the Tigers better than the Dodgers. But I don't mind the Dodgers. The lefties would be the way I'd go. But I like the Tigers better. If, just kind of trying to show you where I'm at, more or less. I'd rather play the Tigers. But with that being said, who are your give me your top 3 stacks?
Whew. I think, obviously, in my order, regardless of percentage owned, Yankees, Royals, and then it kind of comes, a jumbled little mess between a couple of teams. Braves are going to fall into that category. The Reds are going to fall into that category. Angels are going to fall into that category. So how about a tied 3, all of those in that order as a tiebreaker?
I'll give you that. I'll give you that with the Yankees and Royals. But, so for me, I got the Tigers, Angels, and Brew Crew would be my next 3. Then I probably have like the Dodgers. So I think that Tigers, Royals, Brew Crew, not too much separating them. If I probably had to put them I'd probably put the Brew Crew up at top because of their stolen base capabilities. Whenever I'm in that spot, that's generally the what puts it over for me. But interesting slate. That is for sure. So, man, I hope next time I'm talking to you, BJ, I hope that, we bring home one of them belts here for SHIPIT Nation for the baseball championships. That would be nice. But, hey, let's not forget about all the other fun we got going on. We got golf going on. We got MMA, UFC, all that other fun stuff. You get in there now, obviously, you get everything up until baseball. So make sure you guys get over there and check all that out. I'm going to get over here real quick and get on that slate plan for us here at SHIPIT Nation. But, BJ, before we get out of here, you got any last words for all the people? Hey, look, let's give the people a little home run pick. Let's You give one and I'll give one. Let's get one.
I don't want to be chalky, but it seems like a Soto day. If I wasn't going to go Soto with the chalk, I'm going to get a little bit lower on with the Ozuna bomb. So let's find one of those today.
All right. I don't mind that. You know who I'm going to roll with? Our boy Neto. I'm going to go with Neto. Up in that 2-hole. I like that call there with Mr. Neto. I almost said Kerry Carpenter of the Tigers. I was that close. Kerry Carpenter could definitely get the job done. But, man, appreciate you joining me. Appreciate everybody being here with us today. Like I said, we'll be back here next week giving out all kinds of winners. But appreciate you joining. Hit that like button on the way out, too, man. Keep them bosses off our ass for me. I don't like the boss on my ass. So either way, BJ, appreciate you joining me. Let's kick some ass tonight. We'll catch you guys here next week.